Suge tried to destroy my record company with the help of others, Dre. So right now we're getting everything back together and we finna come out, fully loaded.
I noticed you're very short on those two those two names. You have very little to say.
I can talk about them all day. I mean, I make money from Dre and Snoop, so it don't matter.
Okay.
It's all good.
Have you and Dre ran into each other on one-on-one?
Yeah, Dre stays right around the corner from me, but when he sees me, he ducks his head because he's scared to face me.
Why?
Why? Because he's screwed up.
One of the most controversial parts of Dr. Dre's past, especially the allegations surrounding his treatment of women, was largely left out of Straight Outta Compton, a film that presented him as one of hip-hop's biggest legends. One person notably affected by that omission was D. Barnes, the host of Fox's hip-hop show Pump It Up. Barnes was well connected within the rap world and had interviewed N.W.A several times. But tensions exploded after Ice Cube left the group, leading N.W.A to fire back with harsh lyrics on 100 Miles and Runnin'. When Barnes later brought the group onto her show to discuss the split, the atmosphere was extremely tense. Nearly every question turned into criticism of Cube, and producers reportedly had to heavily edit the footage just to make it suitable for television. Things became even more complicated when the final episode paired that heated N.W.A interview with an older segment featuring Yo-Yo, a close associate of Ice Cube, during the filming of Boys in the Hood. During that earlier shoot, Cube unexpectedly appeared and responded to his former group using their own style and lyrics. He also took shots at the D.O.C., a close friend of Dre, who had suffered serious injuries in a car accident that affected his voice. Barnes reportedly disagreed with airing the segments back-to-back because she understood how explosive the combination could look. However, she did not have the final say in the editing process. The finished broadcast placed the two segments together in a way that dramatically amplified the ongoing conflict. Afterward, Barnes made a quick comment about often ending up around controversy, but editing made it appear as if she was stirring up the rivalry herself. The fallout escalated when Dre and Barnes later encountered each other at an industry event hosted by Def Jam. According to accounts reported by journalist Alan Light, Dre confronted Barnes over the television segment. Reports state that he grabbed her by the hair and violently assaulted her near a staircase. Witness accounts also claimed that a member of his security team prevented others from stepping in. Barnes later stated that after trying to escape, she was pursued into a women's restroom where the assault continued before she was finally able to get away. The incident became one of the most discussed and controversial chapters connected to Dre's history, drawing criticism and renewed attention years later. What made the controversy even bigger was the reaction that followed. According to public reports from the time, several members of N.W.A showed little sympathy toward D. Barnes after the incident. MC Ren reportedly said she deserved what happened, while Eazy-E was also quoted making comments that many viewed as supportive of Dre's actions. Dre himself later downplayed the seriousness of the situation during interviews, reportedly describing the incident in a far less severe way than Barnes's account. Barnes eventually filed a lawsuit seeking millions in damages, but the case was resolved through an out-of-court settlement. Over the years, other women have also publicly shared allegations involving Dre, creating a sharp contrast between the polished image presented in the film and the more complicated stories that existed outside of it. The movie's selective approach to history didn't stop there. One of the most debated parts of Straight Outta Compton centers on the final chapter of Eazy-E's life. In the film, Eazy is shown becoming emotional and breaking down after learning about his HIV diagnosis. It is a powerful scene, but several people who were close to him have challenged that portrayal. Members of Bone Thugs and Harmony, who spent significant time with him during his final days, have publicly stated that they remember a very different version of events. According to them, Eazy never gave in to despair, and instead handled the situation with remarkable strength and determination.
Now, did you ever at one time, you had Dre on your label at one time? Or was he with you?
He was in N.W.A,
Okay.
and he was a producer
Okay.
for Ruthless Records.
All right. So Snoop Dogg was never with you?
Nah, he was never with me.
No one disputes that receiving a terminal diagnosis at a young age would be devastating, especially at a time when Eazy was enjoying major success and influence. But critics of the film argue that the emotional breakdown shown on screen does not match the person they knew. They believe the filmmakers heightened the drama for a stronger emotional impact, even if that meant moving away from some accounts of what actually happened.
Eazy was pissed off at Suge for taking Dre, and it was much money and energy and work that Eazy put into starting Ruthless and making it a success, like that. It was, kind of gone.
Another major point of controversy involves the movie's portrayal of Eazy-E's finances during the final years of his life. In Straight Outta Compton, viewers see a version of Eazy that appears to be struggling financially, living in a smaller home and dealing with money problems. However, several people who knew him personally, including rapper BG Knockout, have strongly disputed that portrayal. They argue that the film created a narrative that simply does not match their memories of Eazy's actual circumstances.
Were you in a gang?
I mean, I run with gangs and everything. I've been through the little drive-by shootings and the dope game and everything. And
Did you ever sell any?
Of course.
What did you sell?
Keys, gang of 30, 40,000, fast you could count it, 50,000 here, 10,000 there, like that. My cousin, he ended up getting killed and everything, and a lot of my friends ended up getting killed. My cousin got set up.
According to those close to him, Eazy's business empire was thriving during that period. Ruthless Records had become one of the most successful independent labels in the music industry, and Eazy was reportedly overseeing a highly profitable operation.
So I stayed into it for a while. I've saved up a bunch of money and decided to go another route. So Dre said, we could hook up something, start a record company, to make you some money. So I said, fuck it. I did it, which I never rapped in my life because I was all into the street shit. So we started the record company, which I thought wasn't going to work. And me, myself, never rapping in my life, I ended up rapping a song and everybody liked it and it took off. I started N.W.A. We made the name up.
Friends and associates have claimed that he owned multiple properties across Southern California, including homes in areas such as Calabasas, Topanga, Westlake, Woodland Hills, and Norwalk. One property in Woodland Hills was described as a large hillside estate with impressive views and plenty of privacy, a far cry from the downsized lifestyle shown in the movie. People close to Eazy have also spoken about the resources he devoted to his family. Reports from friends and associates claim he spent significant amounts supporting his children, including private school tuition, child support payments, and memorable birthday celebrations. They describe a father who enjoyed spending time with his kids and creating special moments with them. His son, Eric Jr., has shared memories of simple activities like playing video games together, offering a more personal glimpse into Eazy's life away from the spotlight. Beyond music, Eazy was reportedly involved in a wide range of business ventures and creative projects. According to those familiar with his plans, he was developing a comic book project called The Hood with comic creator Rob Liefeld, exploring audio products known as Eazy-E's Bass Shakers, working on a screenplay titled Smiling Faces, and discussing ideas connected to video games and film production. His radio venture, the Ruthless radio show on N.W.A, also gained attention in its time slot. Supporters point to these projects as evidence that Eazy was continuing to expand his business interests. For critics of the film, the decision to portray him as financially struggling remains one of the most disputed parts of the entire story, with some believing it unfairly minimized the scale of his success and lasting impact. Another side of Eazy-E that many critics feel was missing from the movie was his reputation for generosity and community involvement. Friends, family members, and longtime associates have often described him as someone who quietly helped people without seeking attention. According to those accounts, he regularly gave back to neighborhoods around him, whether that meant buying treats for local kids, spending time with young people, or supporting community events. During the holiday season, people close to him say he would help provide gifts and meals for families facing financial struggles, often doing so without making a public spectacle of it. Those who knew Eazy also point to the efforts he made to create memorable experiences for children and families. Associates have recalled him covering trips and special outings, helping kids enjoy opportunities they might not otherwise have had. Others say he supported programs designed to expose young people to new experiences and regularly visited youth facilities to speak with teenagers about life choices and future opportunities. These stories paint a picture that is very different from the image many viewers saw on screen. His charitable contributions reportedly extended beyond personal acts of kindness as well. Over the years, Eazy was connected to donations and support for organizations such as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, City of Hope, and Athletes and Entertainers for Kids. His public profile even led to an invitation to attend a political fundraising event hosted by President George H.W. Bush in 1991. Supporters often cite these examples as evidence that his influence reached far beyond music and business. One of the most frequently shared stories about Eazy's generosity comes from Cocaine of Above the Law. According to Cocaine, when his premature twins needed an expensive medical procedure, Eazy immediately stepped in to help. He reportedly traveled to the hospital and provided financial assistance to ensure the treatment could move forward. Stories like this have led many of his peers to remember him not only as a businessman, but also as a loyal friend, mentor, and supporter who looked out for the people around him. Critics of Straight Outta Compton also argue that the film softened or altered parts of Eazy's real-world reputation. One often discussed example is the scene involving Suge Knight and Dr. Dre's departure from Ruthless Records. The movie presents Eazy as being heavily intimidated during the dispute.
Fresh out of jail, I'll come check you out, right?
Right.
Why the bulletproof vest?
Oh, it's not. Oh, no, that's just. It's
Because you know a new thing, right?
Yeah.
See, if somebody gonna do something to somebody, see,
Right.
technology is so high, right?
Right.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. Kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? So
Right.
they got this new thing out that people sell them all the time. They got this stuff they call, they get blood from somebody with AIDS,
Yeah.
and then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that
death
seems
don't happen.
bad.
That's
Yeah.
a slow death.
Yeah. Yeah.
An easy thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay.
However, some former associates have challenged that version of events, arguing that Eazy had extensive connections, influence, and strong relationships within his community. Because of that, they believe the film exaggerated certain moments for dramatic effect, creating a version of events that remains heavily debated to this day. Another major criticism of Straight Outta Compton centers on how the film portrays Eazy-E's influence and standing during the height of his career. According to many people who knew him, Eazy's roots in Compton gave him strong connections and credibility that extended well beyond the music business.
I had no idea that you make money off product from Dr. Dre and Snoop. Now, how did that work out?
Basically, I had Dre signed as exclusive producer and exclusive artist. So when Dre tried to make his deal over at Interscope, you know, I was included for the next 6 years. So you can say all you want to say. Basically, you can diss me all you want, but I'm going to get paid. That's why I say Dre Day is only Eazy's payday.
Friends and associates often point to his longtime relationships with respected figures in the community, as well as the network of people who surrounded him throughout his rise in hip-hop. Places like Compton Hydraulics became well-known gathering spots where music, business, and local culture frequently intersected.
He's bionic, Dr. Dre. And you look back at him in his doctor suit, you could tell where he originally came from. So if you look back at me, my beginning, I did the Boys in the Hood. So I was cruising down the street in my 6'4". So it's 93 now, and Dre is all of a sudden cruising down the street in his 6'4" now. So I figured he like a 93 wannabe. Because back then, he did all this Cabbage Patch stuff and dancing and wore the lipstick and the doctor outfits with the stethoscope and did all this techno music.
Supporters also highlight Eazy's 1993 video for Real Motherfucking G's as an example of how closely he identified with his background and community.
He was never really from the streets. And I figured, like, what he talking about? He said he's got a song I call G Thing. I figured G stuff come from the concrete, and that's the streets, which he was never from the streets. Only reason why people affiliate him with the streets is through me. So it's like, where we from, Compton and Long Beach, they don't get along with each other. See, like, people in Compton really don't, claim Dre as being from Compton, and they don't claim Snoop from being from Long Beach. So it's like, it's still a whole lot.
The video featured numerous individuals displaying symbols and fashion associated with local street culture, while Eazy himself wore clothing that many interpreted as a nod to those connections. For fans and observers, the visual was designed to reinforce his image as someone whose reputation was rooted in real-life relationships rather than manufactured industry storytelling. Because of that reputation, some former associates strongly dispute the film's depiction of conflicts involving Eazy and Suge Knight. They argue that Eazy was surrounded by loyal friends, business partners, and influential figures, making the movie's version of events highly questionable in their view. These individuals maintain that any serious confrontation would have carried major consequences, which is why they believe certain scenes were exaggerated for dramatic impact rather than historical accuracy. Eazy's influence also extended beyond his own immediate circle. Long before many major labels paid attention to the growing Chicano rap scene, he was supporting and signing artists connected to that movement. Ruthless Records became home to acts such as Kid Frost and Brownside, helping bring wider attention to voices that were often overlooked by the mainstream music industry. Supporters say this willingness to invest in different communities showed Eazy's ability to spot talent and opportunities before much of the industry caught on, further expanding his impact beyond N.W.A. and Gangsta rap alone. During the peak of the Ruthless Records and Death Row Records feud, relationships and alliances reportedly became more important than ever. According to stories shared by people connected to the situation, members of Brownside, led by Toker, played a significant role in supporting Eazy-E during a period of rising tension. Some accounts claim that when concerns about possible confrontations were growing, Brownside and their associates showed up at Ruthless headquarters to make it clear that Eazy would not be facing challenges alone. Stories from those involved describe a strong show of loyalty and protection, although some details have been disputed and remain part of hip-hop lore. From that point forward, several associates have claimed that Eazy often traveled with trusted supporters nearby. According to these accounts, friends and allies frequently kept an eye on situations around him, particularly as tensions between rival camps continued to escalate. Supporters argue that Eazy's network was much larger and more influential than many mainstream retellings have suggested. One story often repeated by people close to Eazy involves an alleged confrontation at a Cheesecake Factory restaurant. According to the account, Eazy was approached by a group of individuals connected to a rival camp who believed he was isolated. However, supporters claimed that numerous allies were also nearby and quickly made their presence known. The situation reportedly ended without a violent confrontation, with the opposing group leaving the area after realizing Eazy was not alone. As with many stories from that era, details vary depending on who is telling them, but the incident has become part of the larger legends surrounding the rivalry. In the end, Straight Outta Compton became a massive commercial success and earned widespread praise from audiences and critics alike. At the same time, the film sparked years of debate over what it included, what it left out, and how certain figures were portrayed. Critics argue that some events were simplified, dramatized, or altered to create a stronger narrative, while supporters of the film view those changes as a normal part of adapting history for the big screen. One thing is certain: discussions about Eazy-E's legacy, influence, and role in hip-hop continue long after his passing. Whether people agree with the film's version of events or not, Eazy remains one of the most important and influential figures in rap history, and his impact on the culture is still felt today. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Do you think Straight Outta Compton got the story right, or were some key details left out? Let us know below, and stay tuned for more hip-hop stories, controversies, and untold history.